Hey, good people. How's everyone doing? Anyway, I hope everyone is doing well, closing out their outstanding weekend of rest and relaxation, right? Lots going on, always a lot going on in life if you in the land of living above ground, right? Anyway, I'm Chris. Thanks for tuning in. If you will, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Let me just say before I forget, a few folks had sent me messages and asked for my Cash App, wanted to send me a little something to further my journey. So thank you very kindly, kind sir. Thank you very kindly, kind ma'am. Greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's get to it. I don't have much to say on today. At least I don't have much on my mind at the moment. Sometimes I get carried away. Um, yes. So thanks for joining in as we talk about a little bit of my financial journey, and maybe I could say something to help you in your financial journey. If not, then hopefully I could turn you on to some people or some things that could help you further your financial journey, further your financial knowledge. As yours truly like to say, as your financial knowledge go, so does it reflected in your portfolio or in your portfolios. So with that being said, I had a thought just a little while ago. One of our former presidents, John F. K. Right? He once said, he said, "Ask not what you could do for your country, rather ask what you can do for your country." So when I thought of that, I thought about the market doesn't need you, nor does the market need I. Rather, you and I need the market, or we need what the market can do for us, right? The market has been around since 1792. I've said it before. I'll probably refer to it many times in the future, but the market has been doing just fine since it began in 1792. It's a long time since the market been around. And it's been doing some great things since it's been around. And it's going to keep on doing great things if it continues to be around. When it no longer works, trust me, the country will do away with it. But if it's still here, that means it's still doing great things. Okay, so one, let me say, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work the market. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to benefit from the market. What it takes is getting off the bench, getting in the game, getting off the sidelines, getting in the game, putting a portion of your army of dollars to work and reaping the benefits thereof. That is what the market does, right? It's called compound interest and it's called growth. As the company you're investing in, or as the companies you're investing in, the stock that you are purchasing, the stock that you are buying, it's a reflection of how the company is doing, right? And there are many different ways you can go about doing this game. But you'll never know until you get in the game. Thought about some things that my parents have instilled in me over the process of life. And excuse me, it's on the tip of my tongue. My parents, they taught me whatever it is you get involved in, whatever it is you get involved in, whatever it is you become a part of, don't just be a seat warmer. Get involved in what you're doing. Contribute and allow what the organization or whatever it is you're part of to contribute to you. Don't allow it just to be a one-sided thing that you're just using whatever it is you're a part of and you're never giving to whatever it is you're a part of. It is a give and a take process in life. That applies whether it be a relationship, whether it be a job, whether it be schooling, whatsoever it is you are giving yourself to be a part of in life. It's a give and take. Otherwise, it's an unfair exchange, right? And another wise friend of mine taught me, shared with me, fair exchange is not robbery. What one person is willing to do for you, you should be willing to do the same in return. Or whatever one thing do for you, you should be willing to render the same to it in return. Anyway, covered that. So I made a few notes here. So some guidelines just to keep me on track, so I don't get too far off track. You know, I can go down a rabbit hole quick, fast, and in a hurry. So we're talking about how we could benefit from the market, right? So I think as you get involved in the market, as you learn the market, as you learn how the market operates, how the market moves, and what drives the market, and how the market has different swings up, swing lows. Kind of like when you're in a relationship with a person, they have their moves and the attitudes. They swing up, they swing down, and what have you. And you start learning what things that you do that cause them to react a certain way, and it causes you guys to mesh together, work together, to get close, draw close, and become intimate, and what have you. You can do the same with the stock market and or crypto, right? So as you learn these things about the market, then the market will not only reward you, but it will greatly reward you in return for your sacrifice of learning how it operates. Again, I said there are many ways to do this, right? I meet people and some say, you know, I can afford to invest X amount of money a month, and I can wait 3 or 4 years before I see how it's doing in return. That's a great mindset to have, and that's one way to do it. If you're doing it that way, you can go with really safe, great opportunities in ETFs, right? ETFs is a bucket of stocks. I was going to say stock market, a bucket of stocks all in one, right? It makes you, it gives you access to a group of stocks all in one, right? And be various prices that those ETF stocks cost, right? So popular stock, one of the best ETF you can have is, excuse me, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a portion of the top 500 stocks across the entire stock market. So you have the Magnificent Seven. And what is the Magnificent Seven? Well, just the greatest stocks of the stock market, right? Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft. You can look it up for yourself so you would know for yourself. Don't just take my word, or one of my mentors on YouTube is say, don't just follow somebody you don't know. Don't just blindly follow someone on YouTube who you don't know from nothing. You don't know the person, but you just trust the person. Whatever anyone says to you on YouTube, Google, what have you, you can always do your own research to fact check what they're saying and see how it will work for you. And you should do that in everything. You should do that when somebody on the job tells you something. You know, I have to go and fact check, because if I don't fact check, once someone says something to me, if I take it for the gospel and I run with it and it end up being wrong, you know, I work in the corporate world. If it end up being wrong, they're not going back to the source who gave me the info. You are an adult and you have responsibilities, right? And you have a certain reputation, a certain expectation, right? And if you don't measure up to your expectation, if you didn't fact check what somebody else said to you, and now you've taken that work, you signed off on it, and you signed off on it based on what somebody else said, then you're responsible for it. Same thing in your relationship with your spouse. Somebody tell you one thing, you run with that, do no fact checking, and your spouse say, why is this working like this? What did you do? Why did you do it? Shame on you for not fact checking. So whatever anybody says to you on YouTube or what have you, go do your own research, assess it for yourself, right? I don't know if I talked in a circle or what have you. It made sense to me. Hopefully it was receptive to you. I want to give an example. One of my favorite ones I've been talking about forever, Amazon, right? I've been talking about Amazon well before I got on YouTube, right? And what is my infatuation with Amazon? Another one of my mentors from a distance. I don't follow him as closely, but I do follow him, and I'm not going to call his name, but he said, you know, if a person show you in the charts as how to support what they're saying, then you shouldn't be following them. I understood squarely what he was saying, and it made sense on one end. But anyway, in another way, in other areas, not so. Larry Jones, he refers to charts vaguely from time to time, but most of the time he's a momentum trader, and he gives great sound reasoning as to why he believes in strongly believes in a stock and what it's going to do, and he has sound reasoning to support it, right? So anyway, what's my sound reason why I am so infatuated with Amazon? I've said countless times, I started my financial journey outside of my 401k in the stock market and or crypto back in 2020 when COVID kicked off, right? So when I first started, I was buying dirt cheap stock, right? And I had some reasoning what I was doing. I started with energy and water. I figured, mankind needs energy and water to survive, so it's going to make money sooner or later, and it made me money within 3 weeks. But we talking about Amazon now. While I was working with the cheap stocks, right? I worked with cheap stocks. As it made money, I would sell it and graduate into better and better cheap stock. And after 2 years, I had a decent enough portfolio, that I decided, okay, now I'm going to move into the stocks that I had been watching for the first 2 years. What do I mean? Robinhood is one of my favorite brokerage accounts, right? Have multiple brokerage accounts, but Robinhood is one of my favorites. I started with Robinhood. It's still one of my favorites to this day. Why? It's very easy, it's very user-friendly, and I think it's like investing for dummies. Not calling anyone a dummy, but if you don't know how to invest, it makes it easy for you to do, right? When I first got started, they gave me a share of free stock, and that first 2 years, I accumulated a lot of free stock by inviting other folks, sending them an invite. They joined from my link, and I got a free share stock. They got a free share of stock. And they had promotions. If I got 5 people, then I would get 3 free stocks. So if I got 7 people, if I got 10 people, whatever. So it was a cap on how much free stock you can get a year. I never hit the cap, but I did pretty well. But anyway, I love it for that reason. I love it when you click on a stock or you click on a crypto, it shows you a bunch of stats on it. It shows you what the company is, when the company exists, when the company started, and just various information, right? Most of the brokerage accounts sometimes have the info or the data, but it's not as easy to find. You have to know how to manipulate, how to utilize that brokerage account in order to find that info. Robinhood is too easy. It's right at your fingertips. So that's one reason why I love Robinhood. Okay, get back to Amazon. On Robinhood, it was showing me every day when the market closed, it would show me the top 10 performers, the top bottom performers of that day, right? So, there are 7 days in a week. There are 4 weeks in a month, right? We have 3 weeks out of the 3 months out of the year. They have 5 weeks. So, you have 52 weeks in a year. So what I'm saying is I watch day over day for that first 2 years. Day over day, week over week, month over month. 52 months out of a year, 2 years in a row. I watch Amazon in the top 10, seemingly 52 weeks out of the month. Maybe it was a week or 2 out of the year, but I watched it with my own eyes. I didn't need to turn to a chart, right? Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is, in 2020 and 2021, Amazon was $3,800 a share. I was like, wow, I would like to own that one day. Another reason why I was impressed with Amazon, I used to work at FedEx Express, and so the post office used to piggyback off of FedEx Express, and I believe they spread it around. They used to piggyback off FedEx Express and UPS. I think they even used DHL a little bit. I don't know. Well, Amazon used to piggyback off FedEx. But Amazon spread the wealth around. They didn't just use FedEx. They used, all of the major couriers. They spread the wealth around. And I used to see a lot of Amazon, right? Then, when Amazon started acquiring their own fleet, right? You see all the Amazon trucks up and down the street, right? And where I live, we have the third largest port in the U.S. and fastest growing port in the U.S. And we have warehouses popping up all the time. Well, I saw an Amazon warehouse pop up, and it was a really big, huge distribution center, right? And then shortly thereafter, I seen another Amazon warehouse popped up, and shortly thereafter, I seen another. So I know they were picking back heavily off of FedEx. I'm seeing these trucks around, and I'm seeing these warehouses popping up like hotcakes, and they're all huge in this one area. And I know they're not just building distribution centers here. So that right there showed me. I see how their stock is performing in the stock market. I see how the company is growing. I see how they're expanding their reach by accumulating their own distribution center, accumulating their own fleet of distributing their product, their shipments, right? And I'm seeing the shipments delivered throughout my warehouse. I'm seeing the shipment throughout the neighborhoods I ride through. I see the shipments at my house. I see Amazon everywhere. That's telling me there is a great use for Amazon. And that was making sense in my own mind why the stock was performing so well. Of course, the experts were saying that it was oversold. They saying it was overpriced. Okay, what do I know? I was just learning the system. But I watched it do that for 52 weeks out of the year, 2 years in a row. So I said, that is a place I want to be able to put my money one day when I can afford it. Well, after 2 years, I could afford it. Well, at the time that I was able to afford it, the market started crashing. I'm just giving an example to you. I was saying how you understand the market, how you learn how it works, you learn the ins and outs and what have you, and you grow from it and you reap from the knowledge that you gain. So the knowledge that I gained is I was always looking. I had a hunger, I had a thirst to understand this thing that I was a part of, because my parents had already instilled in me, when you're a part of something, you need to know how it works, why it works, how you could benefit from it, and how it could benefit from you. All of that was going through my head through that whole 2-year process. Okay, trying to wind it up. So after 2 years of watching it sit around 3,800, the market started crashing at the end of 2021, right? At the time, I was already selling my mediocre stock, moving into great stock, right? Because I could now afford it. Well, the market was crashing. So not only could I afford it, I was able to pick it up at a discount, right? But as the market was crashing, because it crashed it started crashing at the end of 21. It crashed like all of 2022, right? It was crashing throughout 2023. Don't let people scare you when they talk about a market crash. Because even when the market crashed, there's always going to be some thoroughbreds. There's always going to be some horses in the race that are winning, that are running up, and that are winning, even in the midst of a market crash. It's just the overall market is diving down, but you're still going to find superstars, rock stars throughout the uptrend. I don't get so discouraged when I see the market falling, because I've seen it run hard for 2 solid years, so I know the potential of what it can do. Not everyone has seen that or noticed that, so they might not have the same conviction as me. I watch everything in the market. The market is like a heartbeat. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Everything in the market goes up and down. A lot of things go up, dip down for a hot second, and continue to go upwards, right? So it's still going up and down. It's just going up and down at upwards pace. And then when it crashes, it's going up and down. It's just going up and down it's falling lower at a slower pace. But it never falls forever. It never goes up forever. So it's just a process. So you have to understand the process. You have to work with the process, and then you can reap the benefits thereof. Okay, so when I started acquiring Amazon, it fell from 3,800, and it was a slow downward trend to 2,500. They'd already announced they was going to be doing a split, even in the midst of that process. And the split was going to be a 20 for 1. That means if you already own Amazon, they would give you 20 shares for every 1 share you own. Why did they do that? They didn't give you any money. They kept you from losing the value of your position. So if you only had 1 stock, they lowered the price. When they finally did the split, the price was $2,500, down all the way from $3,800 to $2,500. And they did a split. So the next morning at 12:01 after the split, for every 1 share you had, you automatically went to 20. Well, I started buying my first one when it fell from 38 to 35. Didn't buy it out of my pocket. Bought it out of how my overall portfolio performed for the first 3 years. I was in nice profit. So I was selling off stuff, putting it into better stuff. So I accumulated a share of Amazon at 3,500. It fell down to 3,300. I picked up another share. Fell down to 3,100. I picked up another share. I kept buying shares as I was able to out of my profits. And just before, when it hit 25, I bought another one. So I had 5 shares, right? So I had 5 shares, and then they did the split, 20 for 1 split. So my 5 instantaneously turned from 5 to 100. So the price changed from 2,500 to 149. They lowered my average. My average was no longer what it was between that 3,500 to 2,500. My average lowered to like having 100 shares from the 149, right? And so my average price was somewhere around, I can't remember, but it was it was a nice average price. I think my average price was like maybe $69 or something like that. I don't know. Out of breath. It's just taking longer than I thought. Okay, so Amazon. So after the split, the price ran up and down, maybe from 149 to like somewhere in the low 150s. Did that for like 3 weeks. And which is normal when stocks do split. Most of the time the company will run up slightly. The stock will run up slightly for like 3 weeks because new buyers are buying in, taking advantage of the reduced price, right? And then after that, over the next 3 weeks after that, it normally falls. And it'll fall for like anywhere from 3 weeks to 3 months. In the process that it fell, whether it was 3 weeks, 3 months, whatever time it was, the price fell all the way down to $89. Now at the time, I was constantly DCAing from the time of the split all the way down to 89, and I was still DCAing back to 149. So by the time it got to 149, let's just say, for example, maybe I had like 111 shares, right? So my average price was below 89, right? So if you take and you multiply the difference from 49 and back to, I'm not 49, 89, because it fell as low as 89 and went back to the 149, right? When it got back to 149, with my average price being less than the 89, and I now had like, let's say 111 shares, I was up 10K. I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking I gotta hold this thing for a long time till it gets back up to wherever, and to this day, I think Amazon, I could put it up, but I'm not gonna do it. But I'm just saying, the market can reward you greatly if you just halfway learn the market, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. All you have to do is get in, have your eyes open, do a little research, right? Follow some folks who can better help you understand the market, right? Follow someone like Larry Jones. Larry Jones will introduce you to Stocks with Josh. Follow Stocks with Josh. He'll introduce you to Keelan Grace. Follow Keelan Grace. He'll introduce you to Stock Mode. Follow Stock Mode. At times, Larry has talked about Dale Currier. They had him on one of their shows. I started following stock up Dale Curry. Dale Curry has helped me out greatly, advance my financial knowledge. I ran across Jasper Racine. He has the minority mindset, I believe. Anyway, Jasper Racine, he's a great guy to follow, right? Chris Sane, he's a great one to follow. Wall Street Trapper, he's a great guy to follow. Mommy Trader, she's a great woman to follow. And the list goes on and on and on. But these people will help you better understand the market. They'll help you better understand financial news, worldly news, political news. All of these things drives the market. All of these things can drive your profits, your overall financial net worth, if you just be willing to listen and learn. Or you can just play it safe and buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. I talked about the SPY, the S&P 500, but one of the greatest stocks folks loves is VOO, right? That's Vanguard's version of the S&P 500. But there are countless stocks out there that tracks the S&P 500. I probably talked your head off. Nobody has followed me through to the end, but I can't get on something and just put it out there free nilly-willy and not have it clear and somebody take and run with it and they crash and burn. No, if you crash and burn, it won't be because I didn't take the time to try to break it down. If I didn't take the time to encourage you to go research your own, I am not a financial advisor. I cannot tell you what to do with your hard-earned money, but I can encourage you to take and put a portion of the army of dollars you've learned from your hard-earned money to turn your life around, to turn your financial world around. You can do it. It's not that hard. It doesn't take that long. 2 years may seem like a long time. 3 years may seem like a long time. But when you see them army of dollars multiply, you'll be glad you waited for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. I didn't wait 5 years to start siphoning off money, right? But it worked out really well for me. So I just encourage you, get in the game, begin to build your financial knowledge, begin to build your financial wealth. With that being said, you guys take care and be blessed continually, my friend.